Kia ora. Welcome to PB4L School-wide Positive Behaviour for Learning. We're going to start today with a karakia. Ha ki roto, ha ki waho, kia tau te Māori e kōkere nei, e nā piki me nā hiki, ko te rangi Māori e taku e rapu nei, ti hei Māori ora. We use that karakia in our whānau rooms, and it's a really great one for regulating. What would you like to find out about today? What questions do you have? When we met together for our workshop, some of the questions were, how does PB4L align with whānau goals? How does PB4L meet the needs of neurodivergent students, for all students? We're going to start by having a quick look at the overall vision for New Zealand schools. We're moving from the 1997 one to the new one this year, 2023, giving effect to Te Tiriti and its principles. It aims to enable every New Zealander to learn and excel, to help their whānau and community to thrive, and to build a productive and sustainable economy and an inclusive, caring society. What is it that you want for your child when they leave the schooling system? How do you want them to behave? How do you want them to learn and to go on and be part of this inclusive and caring society? So moving on to our Waitati School vision. What do we want to see? We want to see our whānau being engaged participants who'll enjoy learning and want to come to school. And by whānau we mean whole families. What about our values? What do we want to see there? Manaakitanga, care and respect for our school whānau and community. Tūranga waiwai, a sense of connectedness. Rangatiratanga, developing leadership. Kotahitanga, a sense of unity. And our mission, what we're trying to achieve. This is what made me apply for the job at Waitati Kura. Light the mind, fire the heart, engage the whānau. So what is behaviour? What's your definition of behaviour? So, what is behaviour? We had quite a discussion around this. If we don't behave in a certain way that conforms to our expectations or our values, we feel like we haven't fulfilled our job and we've failed. It's so emotive. We're always behaving though. In reality, behaviour is communication. 70 to 93% of communication is non-verbal. So in my world, there are no bad kids, just impressionable, conflicted young people wrestling with emotions and impulses, trying to communicate their feelings and needs the only way they know how. So it's up to us to teach them how to communicate in appropriate ways, in a way that gets their needs met. So what does fairness mean to you? For us at school, we're after a way which allows everyone to flourish. We want everyone to see the game, like the students standing in front of the fence. And often what's a successful way for our neurodivergent students or our Māori students is to allow, is also good for others. Look at the ramp, the caretakers shoveling snow off the stairs, when if he just cleared the ramp, everyone could have access. And we want consistency of outcome. We want everyone behaving and communicating using our values. But how we get there can be different for each individual. So fair isn't everyone getting the same thing. Fair is everyone getting what they need in order to be successful. I really love this comparison between teaching and doctoring. Kids go to the doctor with different needs. What if the doctor said the same thing to all of them? Only one kid would get what he needs, and that's not fair. So it's the same in the classroom. We want the same outcome. We want everyone to access learning and to show our values at school and learn how to be a community and how to get on with other people. But how we get there is different for different needs and different students. So PB4L really helps us put some structure around how we're going to get there. For students whose behaviour is challenging, teachers need to manage the safety of everyone at the same time as teaching skills of how to communicate in different ways and more appropriate ways. We play the long game. We manage safety when we must, and we teach behaviour to shift over a balance of time. Let's have a closer look at behaviour as communication. We often see someone behave in a certain way, and it's unexpected behaviour, and we try and change it by using rewards and punishment, or we use ourselves as adults to get compliance, but it doesn't address the underlying reasons for behaviour. And there's lots of those: biological, emotional, social, cognitive. What we do know is that as humans we can learn. So we can teach people how to behave. We can teach behaviour, and we can change the environment. And it's often a mixture of these: changing the environment and upskilling people to change behaviour. So we look at the why, so we can be more effective at changing behaviours. Like the iceberg, we look at the things that are causing or influencing the behaviour, and we work out how we can teach or upskill a child to address their needs in a safe and socially acceptable way. Sometimes that is practicing a behaviour like deep breathing, so regulating oneself. Sometimes it's changing the environment, so allowing kids to wear earmuffs to decrease the sound. When we're responding to challenging behaviour, we want to use consequences rather than punishments. When somebody becomes dysregulated or out of sorts, there are opportunities to support them to regulate along the way. And we want to help them at the first opportunity that we get. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes it happens and they become out of control. So it's nice and calm, then they become out of sorts, and then it escalates and it becomes out of control. And we help them through that process to calm down so that they can access learning again. We put a lot of thought into this process and how we can support students to learn and to stay calm. So what encourages emotional regulation? Well, we want children to understand that we're with them, that we want to help them with to regulate. We want the very best for them so that they feel empowered to make those changes themselves, so they feel recognised and respected. We put in place plans, detailed plans around how we're going to achieve this with experts. And what promotes a loss of emotional regulation? Well, that's when the student perceives that they're unsafe, that the information they're getting is different to what they understand. They feel that their feelings aren't taken into account, that they're judged, and maybe they're backed into a corner where there's a win or lose message. That's why we love restorative practice, because it allows a student to keep their mana. It allows us to work through with them and be able to teach them. Communication, what we say and how we say it. We get really good at communicating, and we want there to be a win-win between two students or two groups. So we talk to students with compassion and respect. We protect their mana. We address private or sensitive issues in private. We take students seriously and address the issues. We give focused attention rather than prioritising other activities. We avoid humour like sarcasm or inappropriate remarks or mocking, and we're polite. We've been on our PB4L journey now for 1.5 years, and we've been working behind the scenes to put in place a system and a culture to enable everyone to grow and to become, to really embody those values and to learn how to behave and how to get on with other people, how to look after the environment, what to do if there's an argument that happens in the playground. All of these things takes time, and it takes between 2 to 5 years to really embed these PB4L values into a school. So let's have a look at the systems that we've got so far. We've done this through getting feedback from parents through Google Forms, You might have heard your child talk about the Waitati way. So here's our rules, our way of being, our guidelines of how we are at Waitati School. I can control my hands, feet and body and keep them to myself. I can use kind and gentle words. I can listen and follow instructions quickly. I can take care of my belongings. I can use my tools to self-regulate so I can learn and play well with others. As you know, every child will be at a different place with learning how to do these things. Everyone's an individual and they take different times to do things and learn things. And 3 times a week at least, we are teaching children how to do the Waitati way, how to self-regulate so that they can keep their hands and feet to themselves, how to pack their belongings up, how to use kind words, what to do if someone puts you down, how to self-regulate. So the procedure for working through behaviour starts with step 1, the whole class. My teacher is showing my class ways to self-regulate. They're supporting me to build positive relationships within the class. They are giving me ways to work positively with my own well-being, and I'm given regular opportunities to regulate myself so I can show our Waitati values while learning. Then the next step up from that is if something happens in the playground or in the class, then the teacher will have a mini chat. So my teacher will remind me of the Waitati values and expectations of behaviour and ask me to think about about my actions in relation to these. This is done in a way which keeps children's mana and doesn't embarrass them. And then step 3, after a few mini chats, if the behaviour hasn't improved, then we'll ring you up or send you an email and we'll let you as parents know. And then if that doesn't help, we can't help the student through that way, then we'll have a meeting and we'll come up with a formal plan. We might need to bring in some experts, like the RTLB, Resource Teacher of Learning and Behaviour, or a ministry psychologist, or get some help from a counsellor, or rethink. And then once we've worked away at that, and sometimes this can take a long time, we would review the plan. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes in the system that we work in, we're a small rural school. We get a certain amount of resources. In the system that we work in, we can't save everyone. And sometimes the behaviour is too difficult for us to manage and impacting on other students. And that's where we have our tools of standing down, being suspended and excluded. None of these I really want to do, but that's just the system that we work in. And to help us with the process of finding out the why of behaviours, we use these choices think sheets, which are still in development. I want to make some that are very Waitatian, but they really help children to think about what choice happened, what choice did they make, what was happening before they made the choice. We've had a lot of success with this, with children, even our 5-year-olds. So connecting how I was feeling, if I was feeling angry, with what happened next. And then thinking about how that choice hurt myself and how it hurt someone else, how I can make it better, and I can make better choices next time I will. And for instance, they might take some deep breaths. Now, that's a really hard skill when you're in the red zone and you're feeling angry. It's really hard to walk away and take some deep breaths. But we really want to support our students to learn this skill. It's such an important skill to learn for life. And then, what better choices will I make next time? And why I want to make them, so that people will be proud of me and want to be around me, so everyone will be safer. Children want to do the right thing. They really do. They want to make good choices, and often they need us to show them how to do that. The next document is a list of behaviours from minor through to major, and it shows what kind of things we'll be doing as staff when we see these behaviours. Again, we want to see absolutely an end result where children are behaving and treating each other with respect. How we get there is different depending on the child and the circumstance. So you can see, if you have a close look at this, that the staff do different things depending on what happens. If it's a major thing and somebody's hit or hurt and we've tried everything else, the behaviour is unsafe, then sometimes we have to stand a child down in order to get wrap some more support around them. But most of the time we're able to really help a child to learn along with you, the parents. We're reliant on working with you, and we have really good outcomes. We record this data onto our Edge student management system, and then it spits out graphs like this, for example, of the problem behaviour in term 1, and it allows us to compare term on term, year on year, and it helps us to really identify what's happening in what area it's happening in. Is it in the playground? Is it at the library? Is the main issues in class? And then we can design our teaching to really meet the need. That way we can see real change. Thanks for joining me and learning more about positive behaviour for learning. I'm really open to talking about any of this stuff. It is so complex and there's so many moving parts that go into helping a child manage behaviour. If you'd like to talk more, please send me an email or a text and we'll arrange a time. Ka kite.